Hello and welcome back to my channel. My name is Tony King. In this video, we are reviewing a brand new camera, the Flashback version 2. If you know anything about my channel and anything about me, I'm a photographer. And one thing that really interests me is trying to find that nostalgic feeling that comes from older digital cameras or certain types of photography, namely disposable camera photography. I'll admit it's a huge gimmick, but part of it is a gimmick that you kind of want to lean into sometimes. Sometimes you want that nostalgic feeling, that gritty camera feeling. I've been searching for that in a digital format for the last couple years. I have a digital camera from the early 2000s. I have the 3D printed pocket dispo lens that came out a couple years ago. I've reviewed both of those, but today we are going over a brand new camera from Flashback. I will let you know they sent me this camera for review, but all the opinions that I share are going to be completely my own. So it comes in this little nice box, and they sent me one of the transparent case models. They have a few different colors. I didn't get to choose the color that they sent me, but I think this is kind of cool. It has a little unique look where you can kind of see the inner workings of the camera. It's got a little lens that is pretty much the same as you'd find on any disposable camera. There's a nice button to take the shutter on the back. You do have to wind the quote unquote film. And there's a number at the top that tells you how many images you have left to take. It needs to be recharged by USB-C on the side. Other than that, it's just a tiny little plastic camera that fits nicely in the hand, just like any disposable camera. Where it's different from a disposable camera, of course, you can take as many pictures as you want. And how this works is you actually have to download their app. Once you download their app and connect to the Wi-Fi network, mine pretty much connected all by itself. I don't actually know fully how. It was just kind of already there, which is kind of cool. Maybe it's because I used a QR code that comes in the box. I'm not fully sure, but that was kind of convenient. And it's automatically set on a 24-hour period. And what that means is that once you hit upload your photos, it's going to take quote unquote 24 hours to develop those photos, and you get to see them obviously 24 hours later to kind of mimic the feeling of having to wait for your images. You just don't have to wait that long. But if you don't like that, kind of more like me, you can change it to getting them automatically. And you hit upload, and then it takes, a few seconds, and it'll show your photos on your phone. I think you can do this on a computer too, which might be a little bit more convenient for me, but I can definitely tell how the phone option is a great option, especially for people who are using this kind of for social media or something like that. It is plastic, but it doesn't feel flimsy, which is nice. It's got a flash at the front that's kind of the same as you'd find on any disposable camera. Just turn it on or off. This is what disposable camera photography is for: memories, people in your life, and then on the odd chance you get a really artistic composition. It also has a little bit of that gritty feel. There's a few different options you can put for your film type in the app. Obviously it's not real film, it's just applying a sort of filter, and I'll try a few of those as well. But I usually like to just go for the basics and change what I can later. But there's definitely some options there for people who kind of just want to get quick, easy vibe and something like that. So this is a gimmick for sure, but is it worthwhile? Let's take it out in the field and find out. I really wanted to use this camera in a way that would be like how I would use this camera in general. So I just took it out on a casual walk with my wife, and then I used it around the house. I'm probably going to bring this out when I go out with some friends. I have some good things to say about it, and then a few things that I think can improve. Let's start out with some positives. The battery life seems to be great. It'll go to sleep, and then you just rotate the winder to turn it on. When the flash is on, it'll flash red right here. It takes a little bit of time to charge sometimes. It's not like you can just spam flash photos back to back to back. Sometimes it needs to recharge, which is very common for a lot of disposable cameras or just flash in general. I tried a few of the different film types that they have in the app. It's kind of cool to have a few different options, but one of the ways to export the photos out of the phone is to export as negatives, and that will just send you the image without the filter that they applied to it to give it that different film look. So they have mono, they have cinematic, they have a beta version, and then just their classic look. And I think the classic look is very akin to a disposable camera with maybe some slight green tones, which I personally don't mind, but you can always edit those in post if you have a different preference. The photos I'm showing here, I did actually edit in Lightroom a little bit to kind of get a little bit closer to what I'm envisioning. The biggest con that I have for this camera is actually kind of a big one, and that is the viewfinder is not good at all. At first when I looked through it, I was like, it's kind of hard to see, but the main thing is that the viewfinder doesn't fully align with the picture that you're gonna get. It displays a lot tighter of a frame compared to what the image is actually gonna look like. Obviously, disposable camera with a very small lens, it's gonna be kind of not necessarily fisheye, but very wide, and that is to be expected, and that is a pro for these sort of scenarios that you're using these cameras for, like getting group photos, getting selfies, kind of trying to find the whole vibe of a location, of a night out, whatever it might be, a wedding, just hanging out. The viewfinder should tell you a little bit more of what the image is actually going to look like. So when you're trying to frame something a little bit more intentionally, you can actually do so. The other thing is, I think it would be kind of an easy addition to the camera is to put one of those little mirrors next to the lens for selfies. Polaroid cameras have those, some disposable cameras have those, and I don't think it would be very difficult for them to go ahead and just add a little mirror in there. And I think that could actually add a lot to this particular camera, and maybe in their version 3, if they ever come out with that, that would be a great benefit. You can take 27 pictures at a time, and then I load it on my phone. It actually only took a couple minutes. I didn't even need to be on Wi-Fi. They would kind of just connect to one another. You know, the camera has to be on for it to connect, which again, all you do is wind the camera. Took like maybe 2 minutes tops. And then what I've been doing is exporting them to my camera roll. Now I'll airdrop them to my computer, or if you export the negatives, like I mentioned before, you can airdrop those directly from the app to your computer. You can also plug the camera straight into your phone with this cable that they gave. Kind of looks like this, kind of crazy. I think the cable goes faster. So if you really want like fast share times, like in the field, you can bring the cable, or if like the reception is spotty or whatever, but I didn't find a problem with it. I don't think I will find a problem with it. So I don't really need to bring the cable with me. I find it pretty convenient to just go from this to this. Being that you can just kind of recharge it as you go, I found that my hit rate was actually really fast. Usually when I'm using my film camera or a Polaroid or a disposable camera in the past, you know, I find it to be so precious. I want to take my time with it. I want to, you know, only photograph something that's worth it. And sometimes I'm like, well, that might have been a cool vibe for that certain aesthetic. And with this camera, I was just walking around, just taking pictures. I took multiple takes of the same one because it cost me nothing, which I think is sort of the goal with this type of camera and this line of products that I've been exploring over the last year. Going back to the nostalgic feeling, it is definitely a gimmick. It is definitely nostalgia bait, but nostalgia is such a powerful thing for people. None of these things are perfect in my eyes. All have their little kinks and flaws, but that's what you're going to get when you're trying to kind of make some like retro tech right now. Overall, I'd give a pretty solid review to the Flashback V2 camera. It's quite fun to use. I think the images are pretty decent. There can be motion blur, there can be a lot of grain, but that's what's going to come with this sort of camera. This is fun to use. Expect more photos from this camera on my channel. This is definitely one for the collection that's super positive. If you're into this sort of vibe, this is definitely a good option for you. Those are my thoughts on the Flashback version 2 disposable kind of copy camera over here. Thank you very much to Flashback for sending me this camera. I've enjoyed using it, and hopefully you enjoyed my thoughts on the camera. I've been Tony King. I make all sorts of photography content, not just gear reviews, but also some gear reviews here and there. So I hope you subscribe to my channel to see more of my work as a photographer and more of my thoughts on photography as an art form as a whole. So hopefully I'll see you in the next video. Peace and thanks again.